sold that.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to lie. But if you're taking the right risks, right? I'm not going to Vegas and putting it all on black. That's not the risk I would be taking. Instead of being fearful, we changed the mindset and we actually doubled down. Everybody is hogtied to their 2-3% interest rate, and they are drowning in credit card debt at 29%. I still believe in home ownership over renting. I'll die on that hill. You're just replaceable.
How did you even get started doing this? Like, where did this idea of becoming a loan officer?
Oh gosh. I mean, when I was little, I didn't say I want to grow up and be a loan officer, right? So I was actually raised by entrepreneurs. So builders that started from, nothing. And I watched them grow over my childhood, be self-employed. And I came from big corporate world, started pouring coffee at the front desk. And then I got plucked into the back room to make copies. And then I got to be an assistant, and then a loan officer assistant, and then a licensed loan officer assistant. And then one of my mentors in my business and in life said, he kind of kicked me out of the nest. And he was like, what are you doing? You can do this yourself. And I was like, what? Leave a salary? Like, that's such a big risk for me. And I said, if I try it, and I fail, will you still have a job for me? And he said yes. Okay. And I felt like a little bit of safety there. He kicked me out of the nest, and I've never gone back.
How long has it been? So
I've been in the business for 21-ish years. I say 19 because 20 makes me sound old for some reason. But I would say truly on my own, commission only, dog fight kind of world for about 7-ish years.
Okay.
Yeah. So I would say a little bit newer, but I had many, many years of corporate experience working underneath people.
Yeah. And I love your company, Guild Mortgage. I actually know one of the founders.
Oh gosh, it's a great company.
They're just a great company to work with. You said as you started that history with us that you didn't wake up and say, "Gosh, I want to be a loan officer." I spent 30 years as a commercial lender. And I've always said, no one goes to school and says, I want to be a banker. Like it
sounds boring and terrible.
And it is one of the most fascinating, what we do is both when I was a commercial lender hitting business at kind of that moment where they need something, and your role as a lender in that most significant decision people are likely going to make in their life about, purchasing a home. So
huge financial decision, like one of the biggest financial decisions you'll ever make.
Yeah. And do you, because it's that significant a decision, do you approach your business differently kind of with that foundation in mind or like,
coming from where I come from, and knowing that this is the biggest financial decision that someone's going to make, I truly approach it with heart. It's not a transaction for me. It's a family I'm helping getting into a home. So, sometimes this can be a little bit of a fault of mine, but I actually get to know the client so darn well that they actually become friends, in a lot of situations. So, I know their history of maybe being married, unmarried, getting divorced, going through death, welcoming children into their home. I get to know all of that. So I take it very, very personally. This is where a family is going to be moving their entire life, right? So it's not just a transaction. It definitely comes from the heart. Trying to help.
Yeah, I experienced that myself. That's a very true statement with you. I mean, obviously,
thank you.
Now we're over a year now, and
that's crazy. It's been a year.
I know.
And I feel see, here we are talking again, being we're friends.
Yeah, exactly.
It's important to me that my clients are happy.
It's such a way to do business. That's everything about what the Scroggins Group does, and what I do is wrap myself around the client. It's not just you're my client and you pay me and then I spend a little time with you and then you're on.
Yeah.
It's literally that walk the journey with people.
Yeah. Kind of like holding hands. I like to hold hands with people.
Yeah. It's 100%. So I know the audience, we might as well get this out of the way right away.
Yeah.
What a tumultuous market we are in.
My gosh. Yeah.
What is, in plain layman's terms, what is your view of the market, the mortgage industry right now, how things are going, the perspective people should have about buying or selling? I sold my home with a very low interest rate.
Yeah. It's hard to part.
Killed me. Yeah. It's killed me. So what's your perspective? Because that's going to be undoubtedly like the first question.
Yeah. So I'll be honest with you. It is darn tough, right? Affordability is tough. I feel like there's the middle class, which has always been very near and dear to my heart.
Right.
And I feel like they've been pushed out a little bit. So that's a little disheartening. I would say that luxury buyers are definitely up, right? And our sweet little first time home buyers are struggling right now. So I would say the overview of the market is it's still a market that we should all be entertaining, right? Like,
Yeah.
I still believe in home ownership over renting. Like, I'll die on that hill. I do believe it gains generational wealth. What's the market doing the rest of the year? I think we're going to be in the sixes. I mean, I would love to say, that things are going to get better and drop into the fours, but I think that we're going to be living in the sixes for a minute.
Yeah,
So, I would say it's
especially during the war. The war's having
Not
a really
happening.
interesting.
not helping. I mean, yeah.
Well, during war, I mean, historically, as an
Yes.
economist, historically,
yes.
during wartime or conflict, rates come down to
I
kind of
know.
spur in the economy and get things moving and keep confidence up
Yes.
while we're in a troubled situation.
Yes.
We are not seeing that in the midst of this
And
kind of
it's
situation.
Yeah, like 10 years ago, if there was something bad happening in the world, I mean, it sounds awful, but that usually meant my business was going to get
Well, look at COVID.
better. Exactly.
Rates were what, 2% at
Yeah.
COVID. House prices were skyrocketing.
Drinking from a fire hose.
Yeah.
Yes.
Couldn't get stuff
Yeah.
done. And here we are in the next sort of calamity.
Yeah.
But we're not seeing the same response. In fact, oil prices are a little bit,
Yeah.
gas at the pump. I shouldn't say oil price. Oil prices are up. They took
Yeah.
a spike yesterday of about 18%. But gas prices are up, driving economic pressure up.
Yes.
House prices are not coming down
Yes.
given the increased interest rates
Yes.
that we've had, which you would normally see the equilibrium
Yeah.
of.
Yeah.
We're not seeing that. Rates are staying high, so payments are high. Like, what do you think about? Like, what's your
So,
perspective on all that?
I am personally seeing this on my desk. Like, everybody is hogtied to their 2-3% interest rate, and they are drowning in credit card debt
Yeah.
at 29%.
Right.
And they're stubborn, right? So instead of cashing out of their enormous equity, paying off their debt, clearing their name and getting into like a 6.5% interest rate, people are hogtied to this 2 and 3%. And they're also growing out of their homes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're bursting at the seams. They need to move. I think it's just being able to lead clients with confidence that buying a home and dumping your 2 or 3% interest rate, it's okay to do.
Yeah.
Get rid of your high interest debts, wipe it clean, put the 10% down because they have it in the equity of their home. So I think it's a fear thing. I don't live in fear, at least most of the time. So I think it's part of my job. If you're emotionally ready and if it makes sense and you can afford the payment, like, you should do it.
Yeah.
I'm not their mother, but I can at least tell them my opinion.
Right. 100%. Like I just said, I sacrificed a 2.25% rate to relocate because it was the right thing for our family. We felt inspired to make a relocation, so we did that. I think you're right. I think people are holding on to that low rate
Yeah.
in fear of. But it was said to me a number of years ago, and tell me your thoughts on this. You marry the home, you date the rate.
Yeah. I sold that.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I sold that because
Yeah.
we really did believe. We thought that the dating was going to be a shorter period.
Yes.
So when
yes.
we were I don't say that anymore. I'll be honest. I did say that the first year in 2022 when things shifted. But yeah, it still can be true. We're just on a very long dating journey, and it could be that rates come down and you are married to that home.
Yeah. One of the things I know from looking at history of finance and economics is that there's always fluctuation
Yes.
in the market. What goes up comes down.
Yes.
We're probably, I don't want to predict, but we're probably not going to see 2 or 3% interest rates again. I don't feel like that's healthy for the economy
I don't
anyway.
either. It was artificial.
It was so artificial. It was artificially
Yeah.
manipulated low, and I just don't think that that's going to happen again. I would love to be wrong in that, and I'm going to be the first.
Amen.
I'm going to be the first file on your desk to bring that down.
I wouldn't mind drinking from a fire hose again.
Let's do it a little
Yeah.
bit. But I do think we could see mid fours
Yeah.
and five probably eventually. But what I was going to say tied to that is people are making very short-term decisions on a long-term asset.
Agreed.
The long-term time horizon of an interest rate over the history of the time you're going to be in that house,
Yeah.
provided you stay in it for a while, it's going to fluctuate.
Yes.
Like I remember I bought a house in the early 90s and it was like at 8%. It was during the tech bubble bursting
Yes,
stuff. And
yes.
it was like at 8%.
Yeah.
I thought, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be able to. Well, it wasn't a year and a half and I was down at 6, and then it was another year and a half and I was down at 5. Like,
yeah. Again, if you're emotionally ready and you can afford the payment, buy the house.
yes.
Things will move thereafter. And like you said, unless you're an investor, which investors are typically cash heavy, you're going to be in that home for at least 5 years. I
Right.
think historically, Arizona is 7 to 10, something like that.
Something
so
like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, stop planning for right this second and look at what like the next 7 to 10 years of your life is going to look like.
Exactly.
You growing your family, are you getting a raise? Whatever that might look like.
Yeah, I think that some financial education people need around that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't make short-term decisions on long-term assets.
Amen.
Don't make long-term decisions on short-term assets, right? So I think people need to align that value system and their perspective
Yeah.
on what they're doing. So,
I agree.
so overall, are you optimistic?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. In fact, I mean, true statement. My husband and I bought an investment property at the worst time, 2022.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we did it. So that's how strongly I believe in real estate, regardless of what the market's doing. Now, am I holding on to that piece of real estate? Heavens, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a long-term hold that I will hopefully be able to pass on the asset or even the home to my children.
Yeah.
But I do what I preach, and I bought a home in the worst time
I
in the
did too.
last 5 years.
I
or
did too.
whatever.
July of 22, I bought at the top of the market.
I bought in July of 22.
Yeah, I
Yes.
bought it. I bought an investment piece of real estate in July. I look and hindsight's always 2020. I'm like, should I have done that?
Oh,
well,
yeah.
if I look at the economic trajectory of the area in which I bought, I didn't make a stupid decision. I didn't buy,
Buying real estate
I didn't
is
buy the
stupid.
best house in the worst note.
Right,
I
right.
bought an okay house in an upcoming area.
Yeah.
And so buying real estate like that, even though it's at the top of the market, it's not the top of where that market is going to go.
No.
And so the
And if
long
it's a
term,
long-term hold.
it's a long-term
Who
hold.
cares?
It's a long-term hold.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Even if it dips for a minute, it'll come back up.
100%.
I mean, look at all the charts.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. So, we've been talking about this get a little bit into mindset,
Yeah.
right? Because you've been in the business long enough. You've seen the drinking from the fire hose, not
Yes.
having to market, not having to do anything, and deals are showing up on your desk
Yeah.
like crazy. That is not the environment we're in
No.
right now.
It's a hustle.
It's a it's a hustle every day.
Good grief. Yeah.
So maybe for our business owners, because you're self-employed, for our business owners, what do you do to shift that mindset and push when things get tough? Like, because you can get stuck in that coasting through because deals were coming in sort of environment, but now we're not in that.
Yeah.
You're still very successful. You're top of your company. You're making a lot of deals happen, but that takes a mindset to do that. What is that
Yes.
shift for you?
So I was born with like this workaholic, insane work ethic. So that's already buried in me. But, 2022, I'll bring it back to 2022. I was scared. And that's actually when I took the leap of faith and invested in my business. So as our assets were, I'll be honest with you, our assets were depleting because loans were not coming in. We were having the lowest years. When I say we, my husband and I, we were having the lowest income years that we had had in many. And it was, instead of being fearful, we changed the mindset and we actually doubled down, it actually gives me chills, but we doubled down. And we took what money we had left and put it back into our business. And we took a leap of faith, invested in our business. And I will say that was the best decision that we made, was taking that leap of faith. And then we started launching. But I think it's just not living in fear. And for our family, we prayed about it and we decided to take that leap of faith financially to invest more back into our business with coaching, with social media, with marketing, with lead spend, with giving realtors money for sponsorships, like everything that made me so uncomfortable. my mind said, do it, do it, do it. And then when I started seeing it work and I started getting, I set myself on top of all these other folks that were living in fear, that were getting out of the business, that were letting their licenses expire. I didn't do that. Like,
Right.
I just had to be really, really strong. I looked at my daughters. I looked at our house. I looked at our mortgages. I looked at our bills. And I said, we've got to go. We've got to push. And that's when we invested in our business. And I had never invested really financially in our business before.
How long did it take before that investment started to
I would say,
because I think
honestly,
because again, I think people
yeah.
get this short-term mentality. I invest today, I expect a deal tomorrow.
No way to say. So the first I call it a goose egg. The first month, and I will say it's the last month. I'm very proud to say that, but the first month was October of 2022, and my husband and I did not have a paycheck, and that's like when our hearts started pattering, right? So when we invested in our business in 2022, took the leap of faith of pushing into coaching and social media. I'll be honest, we lived very uncomfortably for at least a year.
Yeah.
We didn't eat out. Like we just changed everything that we did in our house. We buckled down, we did vacation. I said no to a lot of things I would have liked to say yes to. And I would say about a year later, Dr. Scroggins, like, I launched.
That's awesome.
And
it's
so good.
That
it's
is so awesome.
good. So
that is so awesome. There's a lot there. I want to break it down just even a little bit further because I think it's so powerful. So you said things were depleting.
Yes.
2022 October, you didn't have a paycheck, which was very scary. A couple of months before that, you and your husband made a decision. We're going to double down on us.
Yeah.
And make a decision to invest in us. And you mentioned one of the first things out of your mouth was coaching.
Yes.
Like, talk me through, like, for a lot of people, I talk to a lot of people, and I do coaching. That's what I do. It's that mindset shift. But so many people are resistant to it, especially in a down market and a down season for themselves. Why was that the first thing you went to?
I needed someone to be with me. I needed someone that was better than me, higher than me, that was had a different skill than me, kept me accountable. Like, I had homework. I was in my mid 40s having homework, turning that in. I had to show up on camera when I wanted to be not on camera. I had to be face to face. So accountability, mindset, and then what works. Like, I didn't know what was working anymore.
Right.
And my coach was giving me advice on what works. And he was a spend, right? So yeah, he was a spend. But I'm so thankful that I spent that money because it paid it back tenfold for me personally.
Yeah. Well, and in my business, like when I'm talking to clients, and I'm not ashamed to say, I'll kind of talk about my closing with my clients.
Yeah.
I don't ever say what this is going to cost you is. That's never my phrase. I agree. It's the investment you're going to make is X, whatever that dollar happens to be. Because I do believe there better be an ROI on that coaching. And,
I agree.
And it may not be monetary. It might be, but it may not be monetary. Our group, we have a philosophy. We try to do a 10X. So if you're investing $1, we want you to experience $10 in value, right? Whether it's time, whether it's money, whether it's resource, whatever. Yeah, a 10X return. We don't have that written, like we don't guarantee.
No, but that's the mindset.
All of us are motivated to that because it's an investment, and look what it did for you. Yeah, it completely shifted how you think about what you do. And here you are today in 2026.
Yes. And I will say that coaching wasn't cheap in 2022 and we had the least amount of money and the least amount of income.
No.
And it wasn't cheap for us to do, but we did it. I thank the Lord that we took that leap of faith. And this was just a short time ago. Like, it's vulnerable for me to say that just a short time ago we were at one of our lower points, you know? So taking the leap of faith of coaching and social media, and just, there's even more to that we took a leap of faith on. So,
awesome. That is spectacular. That investment that you made in, which I think a lot of people should do, but struggle with that decision. And now, did your husband go through the coaching at the same time, or was it you?
yeah, he was hustling in a different, so he's in the same industry as I am.
Yeah.
So he was hustling in a different way. He actually took the leap of faith and left a certain bank, and he went to the broker world.
Okay.
And that's all, we don't have to go down all that, but that's a big change going to a broker. He went 1099. He had, not as much help anymore. So he took a leap of faith himself to go hustle for his wife, while I took the leap of faith to go build my business to hopefully just be able to survive. Right. So at the same time, his shift was in 2022 as well. So both of us went through it.
So big. And so you also doubled down on an investment, you said, in social media and marketing.
Yes. I hired a videographer. Like,
Yeah.
who am I? And like, I'm so thankful I did. And videographers are not cheap, right?
No.
They're not cheap. And I'm so thankful I did that, because now I have an online presence and authority. And fast forward 4, 5, 6 years later, like, people can look at my page and say, oh my gosh, she does loans.
Yeah.
She's not just a XYZ. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. Yeah. Because your business could be commoditized.
Yes.
Right. It bends or lends itself towards that commoditization
Yes.
of a transaction. You kind of opened with that. It's not a transaction for you. And I think the investment you made in social media and video humanizes you.
Yeah.
And made it, because I've looked at your page.
Thank you.
And I actually follow you.
It's horrifying.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest,
Yeah.
it's horrifying for me to do. But like, now I'm getting to the point where I'm like actually being authentically myself, so people can see that I'm not just a loan officer. I'm a mom. I'm a believer. This, that, and the other. They can connect with me a little bit more than just a transaction.
Yeah. Yeah. I do the same thing with my social media. People are like, is that a funnel that you, and I'm like, to be honest with you, if I got a client from that, great.
Yeah.
But I need it to humanize me. I need it to be, I need my heart to translate through. In fact, it's so funny. I was working with Jay actually, and I had a little bit of a rant that he recorded because, whenever you work with a social media person, they want you to do hook, information, call to action. Like, that's the recipe, right? Hook. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. I am not a hook kind of guy.
Yeah.
I am a, what is going on? Tell me what's happening today kind of guy.
Storytelling.
Tell me what you're struggling with, because I know I can make your life better, right?
Yeah.
Kind of. And I think that's the way your page comes across as well.
I think in the beginning I was trying to hook, but I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't have a ton of money to just be spending on it. And then like, over time, it's reps, right? It's, when you go to the gym, you're not going to get a slamming body after going to the gym for one day. It takes 6 months, a year, right? Of reps.
100%. We just talked about the mortgage market is tough. There are many loan officers today that are struggling.
Yeah.
What are you doing differently than they are that's making you successful today?
So when my business shifted after I invested in coaching and social media, year over year, my business has increased by over 30%.
Wow.
Year over year since 2022. 33%, I think 40 something percent. And this year I'm on track to be over 70%. I don't know if that's how it'll end, but the one thing that I did different is I got out of my own way. I got out of my desk and I went belly to belly, face to face, kissing babies, shaking hands, showing up for realtor partners. Like, I got out of the basement, right? We were all tucked behind our desks doing loans in our basements and making a bunch of money. And then when it stopped, the one thing I did is just, I got, ready, and I put on a cute outfit and I went out and I met with realtor partners. And the more they saw me, again, reps, right?
Yeah.
Rep. They saw my face. Who is that girl? Who is that? And then they finally reached out to me. And then, I'm so thankful that I got out of my own comfort zone, right? I was living very comfortably. And then I had to go out and like knock on doors, in my 40s, right? Knocking on doors again. I went back to door knocking on open houses and introducing myself to realtors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is your motivation? Like, what gets you up going? Like,
I'm competitive. If you didn't know that, I'm very, very competitive. So I like to win. I like to be the best. I'm very, I'm very motivated by success. Obviously the number one is, in our house, it's, Jesus or the Lord. my husband and my kids, right? So I want to make sure that my kids are having the life that I want them to have. I don't want to say no to dance. I don't want to say no to club basketball. We go to private school. Like all of that costs money. These are little walking mortgages. So I so I have to
I've never phrased it that. I'm going to use that.
There's my second home. There's my investment property. Yeah, they're dancing on stage and shooting hoops. I mean, my family is my motivation. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And so that's powerful because I get you up in the morning and it's like, I got to take care of these people.
I got to pay for those walking mortgages.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How do you approach your relationship with realtors and agents and partners? Like how do you develop that? What does that look like?
This might sound bad, but I do a bit of a sniff test, right? So, I can know, I think I'm a pretty good judge of character. So I know kind of right off the bat, if it's kind of someone that I want to work with, if I align with them. And I really like working with people that I align with. I like working with full-time realtors that know what they're doing, so I think back in the day, I used to not be as picky and I would just take whatever I could get. And now I want to work with people that want to work with me. I want to work with professionals, not just the onesie twosie guys.
Yeah. Yeah. You and I talked about that a few days ago about what room are you in?
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to be, and I was in different rooms 10 years back and now I've moved over to different rooms, right? I am not chasing. I'm a hustler, don't get me wrong, but I am not going to chase something that's not going to serve me or my family. So,
or your clients
or my clients. Yeah. It's like, I intentionally want to work with people that want to help my clients, that I align with, that are ethical and, that will do a good job.
Yeah. I agree with that. I don't say that, be in a different room in a derogatory way.
No.
It's just, I want to align my hustle, my value, my desire to win, my desire to serve with others that are like that. Because what you find is that when you're in those rooms, an old mentor of mine told me this a long time ago. He goes, be careful the size of the tank that you decide to swim in. Because fish will only grow to the size of the container that they're in. They do suffer. And right. And I want to be big. Yeah. Not to have the accolades, but to help more.
Yeah.
To serve more, to change this world, to be different. And so selecting those rooms. So what criteria do you use when you're selecting rooms to be in, so to speak?
Gosh, what would my criteria be? Like if they were on an interview, I would say serving. Like I want to work with realtors, business partners, or anyone in my field that feel like they're serving their clients. Again, not transactional. I can't work with transactional people. I used to, I'll be honest. So I want them to be able to serve their clients, honesty, integrity, and authenticity. I also run a very transparent business. So if there's if there's a better deal out there, I'll tell you to go get it.
Yeah.
Even if it's not with me.
Yeah.
And
that just happened.
Yeah. And if I lose a deal, typically it comes back around in some way or another. Like if I lose a deal to someone or a competitor in the Valley, I will say that the client almost feels bad leaving me because they know I was doing a good job. And in some way, it'll come back to me. It'll be a friend or a family member, or this girl really helped me 2 years back. Here's her number. So I want the client to get the best deal, and it always comes back to me. So
yeah.
Honesty.
So
transparency.
Let's talk about the client experience for just a second, because in this metamorphosis that you went through in 2022,
yes,
rebranding, rebuilding, refocusing, double down,
scary stuff. Yeah.
How does the client experience work with you? So in that now, I mean, you're busy.
Yeah.
You are slammed.
Yes.
In a tough market, I might add. But what does that look like if a new client was going to call you today? What do they experience?
I do what's called a discovery call. Instead of being the bot or the AI or the online application or the text, I want to get to know them. It's at least a 5-minute discovery call. Who are you? What do you do for a living? Tell me about your goals, this, that, and the other. And then if I feel like it's a client that's really going to be able to qualify, or at least I can help get them to a point that they qualify, then I'll take the electronic step. But for me personally, I want to have that personal experience up front of a discovery call, getting to know more about the client and their goals. So I know AI is here, and we all keep saying this and this, that, and the other, but I think people miss. I think people miss people. I think that we're tired of computers. We're tired of 800 numbers. We're tired of press 1 for this and press 2 for that. I'm like a real person that wants to get to know you. So that's more of a difference in a client experience for us right now. I mean, there's lenders out there. They're completely electronic from front to close.
Right.
And I think that that's a little scary, or at least it would be for me, to trust a system and not a human with my biggest financial decision that I might ever make.
Yeah. We're seeing psychologically, we're seeing a trend actually.
What's that?
That some of the younger folks are, I don't know if folks is the right technological, younger people. There's a migration away from smartphone technology back to more, let me call it analog, right? Style of communication. Human contact.
To leave your phone at the door at the wedding and have a good time.
Yes.
I've seen that.
Yes.
They have parties and clubs now with leave your phone at the door. I think it's so cool.
Yes. It is. We need to disconnect. I don't want to speak ill of these major companies, but we need. I
just think people miss it, and that's how I run my business, like a person.
Well, I own a couple of businesses, and I've got a lot of people pulling on me. And I've made a policy. My wife and I go out. We have date night Friday night. Every Friday night, I take her out.
Super important.
Plan, figure out where she's going.
Yeah.
I have made a policy that I don't bring the phone.
Good for you.
And so I either leave it in the car when I forget to leave it at home, but I leave it at home because I want 100% of my focus to be on the human contact, especially in that case with my wife. And I think we're seeing a massive migration back to more of a human contact related business in the age of AI.
I know.
In the age of AI.
People are craving the human connection. And my kids, being my oldest one being 12, I feel like she feels left out, right? Because she doesn't have the phone or the tablet. And it's okay. She can hate me. I don't have to be her best friend.
Right.
But it's funny. We called Cox Communications, who does our internet, and we called them and we said, hey, can you come out and install a landline? And he was like, what? Like, is this an assisted living? Like, and I was like, no, we want a landline. And it's like $9 a month. Yeah. And I think the phone was $14, and they hardwired a landline into our house, and my kids have a landline. And I said, call any of your friends that you want. You don't need to be on the internet, but you call them and talk to them, right? So we have a landline. I don't know if people even know what that is anymore, but we have a good old fashioned landline for our daughters.
I love that. I love that. Okay, so let's transition out of the Katie, the loan officer conversation a minute, and transition back into the Katie, the business owner.
Yes.
What are if you had to give like sage advice to a business owner, what are one or two top mindsets or philosophies that you live your life by to build your business? So
I used to not be a risk taker. I now know that taking the right risks, not every risk, but taking the right risk is something that is worth it. If do your research, but taking the risk is worth it. I think that it can explode your business. Another thing that has been really hard on me is I am a control freak, and I have learned to hire out. So 2 weeks ago,
you say that so passionately. That was an emotional move for you.
Oh my gosh. So 2 weeks ago, I made, again, a leap of faith, and I hired an assistant.
Yeah.
I'm 45 years old, and I hired an assistant. And now that I'm able to hire out, she is actually, working on this, that, and the other at my desk so I can be here with you and help grow my business, So I think delegating and hiring out as a business owner is huge. I don't know if you've done this, but I'm assuming your hourly rate, right? So for example, if you're a W-2 or a 1099, take what you made as your gross and W-2 or 1099 income, divide it by 2,080, and that's your hourly rate.
Yep.
So if my hourly rate is not the highest and best use of my time, it should go to someone else.
There you go.
Yeah.
Gosh, you're preaching my song. Singing my
It took
song.
me 45 years to figure that
Oh my
out.
gosh. When I coach business owners, that is one of the top things I struggle with them is I'll tell you a story. I had a guy who owned a very large wealth management firm that we were coaching to scale. The only time he could meet with me was on a Saturday. So I'm having this conversation, and towards the end of the conversation, he says, "Hey, I gotta go to the office and install a dishwasher."
Nope.
And I went, "Wait a minute, what?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm headed back to the office to install a dishwasher." And I said, "Are there not people at the office that can install a dishwasher?" And he goes, "Well, yeah." I said, "What would that cost, do you think, if you hired the handyman? If you hired the handyman, right?" And so he goes, "I don't know, a couple $100." And I said, "You should be doing $1,000 an hour things."
Yes. Amen. Yeah.
Why are you doing a $200? That's a worthwhile job. A handyman is a great business.
Yes.
But why are you doing it when you could be doing?
That's not the highest and best use of time.
No. So I focus business owner. I do that a lot with myself.
Yeah.
What am I doing today that I shouldn't be doing that I can delegate?
I'm a work in progress on that myself.
Yeah. It's a tough transition.
Delegation. So yeah, that's a huge thing that I have learned the tough way is being able to delegate, because I am a control freak. I want to do everything myself because I think I'm the only one that can do it perfect. But if you hire out and delegate, you will get more done and grow more business.
And let's be honest.
Yeah.
Right. Perfect is in the eye of the beholder.
I know.
Right.
I'm not perfect. Even though I think I'm doing everything perfect, I'm not.
So I have maybe do you have expectations for your person that you hire? Like how much
so far,
how close to Katie perfect do they have to be?
I'm gonna go 80.
Yeah, that's about what I tell people.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
You're looking at a 75 to 80% of you.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, it might be perfect in just a different way.
Yeah.
Right? As
Maybe
long as they're not
want that experience from her, and they don't need that experience from me because I'm doing something. Yeah.
No, as long as it's not catastrophic. You know, the loan was supposed to be 400 and it ended up 40,000. Like that's not great.
Right.
But most often we're not hiring people with that type of inadequacy.
No.
Where there's 75 to 80% of us, which allows you to go maximize your time and do better.
Yes. And I was a little picky with my hire too.
Yeah,
like
of course.
She's not a belly to belly person. She's a behind the desk person, and she thrives at that.
Yeah.
It's my yin to my yang, or whatever you want to call it. You know, I need to be out in the field, and I need to get out of my desk and get out of my way.
Yeah, 100%.
So hire out.
Hire out. Delegate. Listen, if you haven't heard that message, delegate. Delegate. You can't do everything.
Totally.
You know? But that is a problem with business owners, right? We are control freaks. We are the one that does.
My dad did growing up. He did everything.
So
and
much.
He still does everything.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's the master. But I was raised by you got to do everything if you want it done right.
Yeah.
And so it's been hard for me to shift that mindset and say, I don't have to do everything, and it still might be right if I hire out. So yeah.
Do you see yourself hiring junior LOs?
I would.
Or is that a little too scary?
That makes me have ants in my pants. But if I do believe in myself launching. The fact that I was able to take the leap of faith to hire an assistant, I would not mind launching from here and coming back in 24 months and saying I have a junior LO.
That's great.
I would love that. Yeah.
That is great.
Yeah.
That is great. Awesome. So you said hire out, delegate, and you said risk.
Yes.
Talk about risk a little bit.
So it's uncomfortable. But if you're taking the right risks, right? I'm not going to Vegas and putting it all on black. That's not the risk I would be taking. But taking a risk of writing a check to someone that should or will make your business grow, even if it feels uncomfortable.
Right.
And then also the patience that comes behind that. You have to have it. It's not going to happen overnight. Again, reps. So more reps, more patience, and being willing to wait for the return. I think did that wrap that question?
Yeah, that was so good.
I was like, what?
So,
Where was I going? But
no, because we are in, but there's no guarantee.
No.
There's no guarantee. But
the risk.
I deal with a lot of entrepreneurs that are trying to launch, and one of the things that they have difficulty with is your husband did this, leaving the W-2 for the 1099 or the self-employment.
We did that by design.
Well, you know, it's
it was very, very scary.
Well, it is because the conversation, the conversation you have is, I have security in a position. Well, I've left several corporate jobs.
Yeah.
And what I have discovered is, and listen, I don't mean to brag, but I was a top producer at every position that I was in. One of the best in the company.
Yeah.
And don't you know, those corporations replaced me in like 15 minutes.
They don't, that's the thing. It's like you think you're such this asset to this corporate company.
Yeah.
But the second you give your 2 weeks, they've already moved on.
They found somebody.
They don't even like write you a letter or send you a Christmas card.
No.
You're just replaceable.
You are replaceable.
Yeah.
You're replaceable.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I want to build a business that I'm irreplaceable here either.
Right.
I am the center of what I do, but I really do like the idea of other people being able to serve. And so, you know, I want to make myself replaceable.
Yeah.
That's the key to scale.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's good.
What is the best piece of advice you've had in your entire career?
You know, I always go back to my dad, but you know, he is a never give up guy. So whether you're at the tip, you know, the high or the low of the low, never give up. Another thing that I learned is when it was raining loans and we were making so much money, I saved. I didn't buy the new car. I didn't.
Oh, good. Yeah.
I mean, it was tough because I could have written a check for a cool car or, but it was saving at the time when times were good allowed me to make the leap of faith when things were down to scale my business for the future.
Yeah.
So never giving up and saving when the times are good.
Yeah.
Is probably a big one for us.
Yeah. I think it's Dave Ramsey that says, do today what others don't, so tomorrow you can do what others can't.
I love Dave.
Yeah.
I think I was raised by that man. I do believe in I'm going to go 85% of his stuff.
That's exactly, oh my gosh, Katie, it's like we've talked before. I do the same thing. I do believe in leverage.
Yeah.
I think leverage is different than debt.
Yeah. We went to Financial Peace University, by the way.
I used to teach Financial Peace University. And I love it. But I do have some variations on that.
Yeah.
We can get in that on a different podcast, the difference between leverage and debt.
Right.
What's next for you?
I would like to launch. I actually used this word yesterday, and it's because I hired out. Here I am again, talking about hiring out. But now that I've got, social media kind of dialed in, dipping back into coaching, hiring an assistant, I would like to launch from here and just take off. I am not done. I am not a settler. I want to go higher, bigger, and better. So gosh, if I had to put a goal out there in the universe, call it, maybe we can sit back down in 24 months and see if I have that junior LO, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's launching from here. I don't want to say this, but top 1% in my industry, right? And I want to remain there. Yeah. Yeah. I want to remain there.
Yeah. That's awesome.
When in your life, or do you remember the age that you were like, I'm done with the corporate world. I want to be my own boss and have that freedom. Like, when was that for you?
So, that's one question with two answers.
Okay.
So I have been entrepreneurial since I was a kid. Okay. I mean, I had, oh my gosh, I'll tell you a quick example of that. So when I was a senior in high school, it was before that, but when I was a senior in high school, we had probably the worst spirit-filled graduating class that the school had experienced. I mean, no, and I mean spirit, like school team spirit. Yeah. Yeah. Not like Holy Spirit, but like team spirit. Like we were just a fragmented group, and sects and cliques and glue. Nobody really celebrating or participating like you would as a senior in high school. So me and a buddy created the Mountain View Thunder Crew, which is a team spirit club, get everybody going. I decided that I was going to have him. He was an art student, so he mocked up a screen print for the front. It was a logo, and so I bought a bunch. I went online, wasn't online. I went into a catalog back then and bought some sweatshirts of all different kinds of sizes. Had him screen print the front of them and sold them to the whole senior class. And so, so I sold every single. My wife still has hers actually because we went to high school together. So I have been entrepreneurial and wanting to do something on my own forever. But was in corporate, and it was in 2023, January 2023, that literally in a moment of kind of prayer and conversation with my wife, we decided the businesses are growing, things are doing well. I was a side hustle guy, right? So I built the Scroggins Group as a side hustle. I have a painting company as a side hustle. I have a coffee company as a side hustle, and I did all those kind of while I was. And then in 23, it was like enough is enough. And so launched out. Oh my gosh. So grateful. I don't know how I had time to work. I mean, it's hard. What I built at the bank, I'm building in a company, right? So I was a business lender, business development officer, business lender, and I built a team that was the number one producer in the company. And so I didn't really have to be on site a lot because I built a support team. Yeah, I'm a belly to so in fact, one of my business partners, clients at the time, had asked, why are you never in your office? And I'm like, if I'm in my office, it's costing me money. Absolutely. Like I got to be out. I got to be in the community. Yeah. So yeah, I'm glad I did. It's tough. It gets hard, but yeah, no one's building this
to help, not just businesses, but it trickles down to families and generational wealth and blessings for children and their children. Yep. So gosh, what a rewarding,
it's a full service, all encompassing kind of blessing people's life.
Clients here right now.
We have 4 divisions. So we have coaching, consulting, accounting, and marketing. Yeah. We wrap our arms around a small business. You shouldn't have to go anywhere else to get that. We don't do tax, we don't do HR, and we don't do law. So I don't want to do any of those things. But so we have about 60 clients total right now in the 4 divisions. Okay. I personally work with half a dozen. Okay. And then are those scattered across the nation? Or they are. No, we've got, we've got Mississippi, we've got Florida, we've got Oregon, Washington, Arizona, one about to come on in California.
And what are these types of businesses? Is it small mom and pop shops?
Small to mid-size. So for the consulting and coaching business, it's a little difficult if you're not doing about $1 million. I mean, I can stretch below that. You need to be at about $1 million in revenue because you're probably, I don't want to put this on anybody, but it's going to be a very hard metric to hit to pay for expertise outside of your company. If you're not, if you're not spending or earning if you're not in that range. But I say we're small to mid-size. So my smallest company is about $500,000 in sales. The largest one I'm working with that they're coming on this week actually is about $100 million in sales. Do
you lead most of your consulting with, I know faith is in your background, but do you actually talk to your clients about faith?
I do. I don't hide it. I don't lead with it, but I don't hide. I've always said I don't beat anybody up with a Bible. Yep. But in my mind, it's very difficult to separate faith and business. God was the designer of business all the way back from Exodus chapter 36. He designed business. So the business principles are kind of innate and connected to faith. And so it's very difficult. Even when I'm not coming out and saying, hey, the Lord says, I'm giving advice. I'm giving advice based on scriptural foundation.
I love that. I love that you're unapologetic, but not in your face about it.
No, just completely open. I mean, I'll tell you a quick testimony. I have a brand new client that is struggling. They're the Mississippi client. And husband was going in for a medical procedure, seemed pretty dangerous. Right beyond that, she went in for a medical procedure that seemed pretty dangerous. And I'm acting as a finance sort of person for them, working on their financials. And I texted her and said, hey, listen, I just want to let you know I'm praying for you and your husband. I have a whole prayer team that I pay to pray. And so we're going to put you on the list and we're blah, blah, blah. And she just unloaded. Thank you so much. We need a guy like you. We need faith-based. And I was able to just witness through that whole experience with them. Yeah. It's just, So I'm not going to shy away from it, but I'm not going to, if you're not a believer, I'm not going to not work with you,
Yeah. I was just curious because I knew that about you personally, but I didn't know if you led your business that way.
Yeah.
I know that's always,
always on my mind.
Always on your mind. That's definitely something I would align with, when I am going to invest money in. I want to make sure that there's good intention behind it.
Yeah. We need to be aligned in values at least, right? And I interview clients. I don't work with everybody. I
love that about you. I'm about the same. I'm a little bit more transactional maybe than you are.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we're not aligning and you're being a knucklehead, bye.
Yeah.
Not for me.
I just had a client that I exited kindly. I just don't think they're ready for me. This is I tell people, you're investing in a Lamborghini and you're trading in a Ford Pinto.
Yes.
Those don't operate on the same track.
Yes.
And so sometimes I'm a little bit too much horsepower for a small business, and the timing is just a little off. And so,
circle back around.
Oh, 100%. I never let people go.
Yeah. Until they tell you to kick rocks.
Absolutely. Yeah. I sent the message and made the call that we probably were at a wrong time in their journey, and that I'll circle back up in about 6 months and see if it's better. But I interview, if you're hard-headed or you already know everything, what am I here for? I don't want to spend money to have you spend money just to tell me you know everything. That doesn't make any sense.
And how many people are on your team?
We've had a couple of exit. We're about 16 people.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have several bookkeepers, 4 in the marketing division, several consultants, and a lot of coaches.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not that small.
No, it's fun.
There's a lot of personalities you deal with.
I love it. Leadership has always been one of my.
I feel that.
One of my things. I love helping people go further than they ever thought they could.
I know you do, and I authentically know that about you.
Yeah. It's part of my heart. Yeah. If someone wanted to connect with you, how would they do that?
Thank you so much. So I am a real person. This right here is the same one that my kids and husband have.
Yeah.
So it's my real cell phone number, 480-239-4078. And then
Perfect.
My Instagram handle is @homeloans with Katie Gerken. You can follow along my life and then my business and a little bit of fun stuff.
I love it. Katie, thank you so much for being here today. It has been an absolute pleasure. It always is a pleasure to chat, but it's been a lot of fun. So
blessed to have been connected with you a year ago, and I can't wait to show you what I'm doing in 24 months.
I love it. I can't wait. It's gonna be we're gonna have a party when she launches with the new LO. Absolutely. Thank you so much.